Wednesday, September 10th. As it appears we do have a quorum, I do hereby call this meeting of the Industrial Development Board to order. Moving on to item number 2, public comment period. Public comment period. The Industrial Development Board holds a designated public comment period at each meeting. Members of the public in attendance may provide comments to the board or its committees during such designated time. Members of the public are allotted 2 minutes for public comment. No advance registration is required. Is there anyone here from the public wishing to speak today? All right, you have 2 minutes, so if you will, state your name, and there you go.
My name is Laura Knotts. I'm the president of the Madison Rivergate Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to speak in favor of the changes for Artesia. They've been a wonderful community partner. We can't wait for them to start phase 1. We've been very committed to bringing more affordable housing to the area. And we love that an even bigger percentage will be more affordable housing. And we are totally fine with not having the parking garage and for it to be service parking in the back. Whatever they need to get that housing going, it's very needed in the area. And we can't wait. So thank you very much, and I hope you approve it.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for joining the meeting. I appreciate your perspective. All right, is there anyone else here from the public wishing to speak today? All right, seeing as how there is no one else here from the public wishing to speak today, we will close the public comment period. Moving on to item number 3, approval of prior meeting minutes. Those were sent to you in the packet last week. I will give you a couple of minutes to review. Again, our last meeting was in May. Primary things in this meeting highlights were the Metro incentive annual payouts. Again, we did not approve the actual grants. Those were approved several years ago. This was the annual payout of those which this board approved for Phillips and Alliance Bernstein. I will note there was one follow-up question regarding Phillips. I will, while you're taking a look at that, I'll bring that up. There was a question regarding the average salaries at Phillips, and so I did want to follow back up on that. The average salary that they provided after the meeting was $90,000 on there.
I'd like to point out just a couple minor tweaks. My name is misspelled a couple times.
Can you tell me the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
Oh, Miss.
I'm seeing Miss Harton instead of Mr. Haston.
Yeah.
And same thing, a couple of paragraphs down at the very bottom.
Haston, Haston, correct? Yep.
I think on...
One note, Ms. Harden was the representative for Phillips.
Good deal. Perfect.
Are there any other misspellings, or was that what that was?
Those are all the misspellings.
Okay.
Just for clarification there was one question about deed restrictions. Just a point of clarification.
It's
on the second to last page about the 20-year TIF. Just curious if we can make a clarification. The deed restriction for LIHTC is longer than the 20-year TIF.
next to last page. I just want to make sure we're getting this.
Which paragraph down are you? Well, what's the start of the paragraph?
Fourth paragraph down.
Yeah. Board member Davidson asked if developers were aware the deed restriction is longer than 20-year TIF. Deed restriction for LIHTC.
And so this that may or may not have been said in the video.
Okay.
So this is what that's recorded from.
Perfect. Okay, cool. As long as, yeah.
Sure. Although I wasn't here, I did notice that the word Bellevue was misspelled every single time.
And you all ran pretty late, adjourned at 12:30 a.m. what I felt like. It felt like it. On the side.
Let's see here.
Question after the presentation.
Oh, yeah, Bellevue,
Bellevue.
yeah, I
It's
said
spelled
that.
wrong every single time.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. You seen that too.
All right, let's,
That's an AI mistake, I
yeah, let's, so, any other comments on the minutes? All right, so here's what we'll do. Those aren't material items, but to clear it up, what I would say is I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes with the correct spelling of Bellevue added to reflect Bellevue, and also to make a note on the time of adjournment that it's 12:30 p.m. So I'll entertain a motion with those two changes. All right, we have a motion by Board Member Wright. Is there a second? All right, Board Member Rodriguez, thank you. So we have a proper second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Can you raise your hand real quick? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Say nay. All right, let the record show the chair abstained. Thank you, motion carried. Thank you.
Can I just offer that the reason why we have so many notes to be meeting minutes is probably because we have really good meeting minutes. So I just want to acknowledge, thank Metro for giving us some really good meeting minutes of late.
Very detailed.
Yes.
I was like,
Because I
wow,
know
pages.
before we were concerned it wasn't detailed enough. Now we have all the
If it's
details.
anything, you don't look like.
I just want to thank them for that.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item, so we're done with item number 3. Moving on to item number 4, introduction of new board members. Obviously, we have some new board members here. Before I get to them, I do want to publicly thank our previous board members. Anthony Davis, I've served with for 6 years, also previous council person, did great work for us on this board. And then Sarah as well was served for 6 years as well, so I do want to thank them for their service. Also, she's not here today, but I do want to thank and congratulate Tequila Johnson on her reappointment to this board. I was going to joke with her today, but I think she's reaching OG status for sure with the second term. So she's right behind me on that end. So really excited and glad to have her back on the board. And then I'll introduce Honorable Nancy Van Rees first. If you want, you don't have to say anything, but if you want to say a few words, you're happy to do that. But I'm really excited to have you on the board as well. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Nancy Van Rees, former council member from 2015 to 2023. I was anxious to be able to provide an opportunity to continue to serve the city. If you've learned anything from Josh Haston on this board, you'll know what my benefit of having worked with him for 3 years at LDG. So you can imagine hearing from him every day for 3 years, and so I'm very grateful to be able to have the opportunity to take some of what I've learned and apply it not only technically in regard to housing and development, but also to bring back what Anthony was able to provide, which is a perspective of an ex-council member as we continue to make decisions that affect neighborhoods and individuals, as well as the financial and economic development of the whole city. So happy to be here.
All right, thank you. Welcome. All right, and also want to congratulate Laura Yankee as well on her appointment to the Industrial Development Board. And before she chimes in, I'll say to all three of these individuals, if you've got, all of us have gone through the process, it's always a very competitive process, candidly, and unique because this board is determined by the Metro Council. And it's always competitive because there's a lot of qualified people that would like to serve on this board. So I think that speaks to the quality of the work that we do. So congratulations to them. But you don't have to say anything, but if you want to say anything, you're welcome to.
I'm never stay silent. So.
Welcome to the board.
That's right. Laura Yankee, native Nashvilleian, spent several years working in public education here in the city. Went into real estate, residential, not commercial, and now am in more of the commercial world at Vanderbilt. And just really excited to be a part of the board and continue to see my city grow to the benefit of all Nashvilleians.
Yep, thank you for that. All right. Well, thank you all again. Looking forward to it. We're gonna have some excitement and some. I like to use the word spirited. Sometimes we get some spirited conversations, and that's okay. Sometimes it's good. So, really excited for you both to serve, and obviously Tequila as well. All right, moving on to item number 5, consideration of approval of First Amendment to Madison Station Project Agreement. Before I get into this, I do want to just remind folks, and we do a training typically, and obviously we have new board members every couple of years, and sometimes we have board members that have to resign for various reasons, and so we'll get new board members in. And so we typically do a training annually, kind of review of our projects, going over ethics training, et cetera. So we've already done that for this year. We'll do it again coming up in Q1 of next year. But because we do have some new board members today, do want to remind folks, I'm not going to go into great detail, that you are required, and it's your personal choice, everybody's here, it's up to you to determine that, you are to share if you have an indirect conflict. If you have an indirect conflict on any item that this board is voting on, and you feel that you can still be impartial, you are welcome to continue to be involved in the discussion, and you can vote if you choose to do so. If you have a direct conflict, which means you have a direct interest in any matter that we're voting on, you are to recuse yourself. And not only can you not vote, but you are not allowed to be involved in any discussion. So again, we'll do the training in full detail later, but just a reminder on that. All right, so with that said, I'll start off. And I've shared this before. So my spouse's architecture firm has done work previously related to this project on Madison Station. I, again, don't know where that is now, haven't had any conversations, but do want to share that. So I have an indirect conflict. Are there any other conflicts of interest?
I also have a conflict of interest. This one is direct, so I need to recuse myself.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that, Board Member Hastings. So you will need to recuse yourself from all discussion and vote. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so what I'd like to do here quickly is today we're just voting on a potential amendment. I'll give you all some highlights of the initial project. And then we've got the developer here, so if you have any questions, basic questions about the project, we can do that. And then we will get into the document that we're actually approving today. So let me give you some highlights on this project. So this project initially came to this board initially for Madison Station. This is about 2 miles if you're coming from Brawley Parkway, East Nashville, headed into Madison. It's about 2 miles from Brawley Parkway. Huge shopping center, 32.4 acres. I was just by there earlier this week. It's a classic example, and for those of us that work in real estate, of this shopping center just no longer being the highest and best use for the property. Again, this initially came to us in December 2022. Subsequently, it came to us again in the spring because not only did we have to approve the economic impact plan, we had to approve the project agreement as well. And the economic impact plan has to be approved by Metro Council as well, which it was done. A couple other big things about the project. I won't go into all the details, but mixed-use development, approximately 1.7 million square feet of 4 to 7 story residential, retail, and office space. Affordable housing units up to 170 units. 10% of the multifamily units to be affordable at 60 to 80% of the AMI. Public investment includes 2,450 linear feet of public streets, a neighborhood transit center, multiple pocket parks, event plaza, and a pedestrian-friendly public greenway. As far as the economic impact that we were provided when this board initially reviewed this project, $631.4 million investment in the project is anticipated, and it's anticipated to create 545 average annual direct construction jobs on site. So again, this board, economic development, so job creation. 732 average annual total jobs in the local area. Annual total labor income of almost $610 million in the local area over the 10-year construction period. Upon completion, nearly 1,700 units, creating 845 direct permanent jobs on site, an annual total labor income of over $185 million, and anticipated to produce approximately almost $245 million in new property tax revenue over the course of the 30-year payback period. All right, with that, that's a little bit about the project. Again, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details today on TIFs because we did a TIF here recently, and again, that's not what we're potentially approving today. It's an amendment to the project agreement. So why don't you all introduce yourselves for the record, and then obviously we approved this project several years ago. Kind of just give us an update on where it stands. We obviously had a representative from the community speak in favor of the project. And then once you all do that, I'll turn it over to my board members for any general questions on the project, and then I'll walk us through the memo that we received, which clearly details what we're looking at approving today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm
Thank you.
Jim Murphy of Bradley Law Firm on behalf of Artesia, the developer, and with me is Daniel Forbes with Artesia. Daniel's going to spend a little bit of time describing why we're here today with this amendment. We're not going to go into a lot of detail on the terms of the amendment because the memo from Josh Thomas does a really good job of that, so I don't think we need to do that. But I think he can describe to you kind of what's happened since May of '23 and why we've had to come back here today and make the changes that we're making so that we can adjust this project to move forward in a most expeditious way. So Daniel.
Mr. Chair, board members, thank you very much for your time today, and thank you. My name is Daniel Forbes. I'm the asset manager for Artesia Real Estate, the developer of Madison Station. So we are very appreciative of the board's approval of the economic impact plan back in 2023. And our objective when that plan was approved was to very quickly thereafter begin construction. What occurred over the next, call it 18 months, was massive spike, as we're all familiar with interest rates, which then has a downward impact on rental rates, and it also has a downward or an upward impact on construction costs. And so over that period of time, the plan for the first phase of the Madison Station project just simply became economically infeasible and unable to be constructed. A lot of that stems from the building of a parking garage and 5-story construction typology as opposed to a little bit shorter and a little less dense. And so our objective this morning is to put before you this amendment to the project agreement to enable us to reduce the density called for on that first phase of the project. And with that, we can move from a parking garage to surface parking. And we believe that with those amendments and a few other items in there, that we'll be able to get this project started much more expeditiously. And with that, anything else I should add?
Well, I think the only other comment is, as part of this, we're putting all the affordable, the 170 in the first phase. That's the other critical part of this. And that resulted in needing to address the fact that in order to do 170 affordable units, the developer is going to have some additional incentives. And so that's why one of the amendment takes into account that the amount of the TIF, the total TIF for the project will be offset by the incentives. And those will be offset in the later phase of the project, not in this phase. So the idea is we're going to get this affordable project in a position where it can go forward, and then we'll deal with the TIF portions in phases 2 and 3.
All right, thank you. Before we get into the document on what we're approving today, I'll start here to my right. Are there any questions that you have for the developer about the project? Anybody here to my right? Any questions or comments? All right, I'll go here to my left. Any questions or comments? I know some of us are kind of familiar with the project. So we were maybe in different roles, but we were familiar with it.
Yeah, I was trying not to gush over the explanation of the original agreement. For those of you who don't know, I was the council member that shepherded this when we were on hand, and I just wanted to speak in case you weren't aware. It was a crazy council member that kind of made them consider structured parking, and so I can speak in full voice that the community does not care about the parking garage. They care about the housing, and the fact that you have a natural buffer with the train track makes it even that much more easy. I have been real excited about trying to see how this thing's going to come across the finish line, and can speak that Artesia has been such a great community partner to the Madisonian area, with support with 54, with support with the Madison Chamber, with support for different community events around town. They're not just a company out of Texas that owns a shopping mall. They are part of the Madison community. And so I wanted to speak to that and thank them for that. The other thing that you might not be aware of is that economic development package had 27 co-sponsors on the Metro Council. So the entire community wants to see this off the ground, and if this is a way to get that done, then I'm happy about it. I did have one question in regard to design. I don't believe the designs that much have changed at all in regard to what it will look like from the roundabout, if you will. But I wanted to kind of give the opportunity on that because of the change in structure. You think, just to make sure that the community knows that it's not going to look that much different.
Sure, yeah, no, I think the buildings will be fronting the street, and the look and feel of it will be very similar to what we had designed originally.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your questions and comments. Anybody else here to my left?
I do.
Board Member Yankee, jumping right in. Let's go.
So I have been following the project just as a Nashvilleian and so excited about it. But I did want to ask, with the loss of the parking garage, is that going to have any impact on the transit center that's incorporated into that plan?
No, we don't anticipate it will. So the transit center is more likely going to come at a later phase. Very likely it will be on towards the southeast corner of the site. And our discussions with WeGo are actually to kind of expand what that could look like, as opposed to it getting smaller or less friendly to the community. We still are very pro a transit oriented development for the whole project.
Great. And then you talked about decreasing the density to get it to pencil, which I totally understand. Parking garages they're always the hardest thing. But what does that look like? What is that decrease in density?
Yeah, so the first phase, we had originally contemplated a minimum of 280 units, of which 10% or 28 units would have been affordable at the 60 to 80% AMI. What we're now contemplating is a minimum of 170 units, so a loss of 110 units, with all 170 of those units being affordable at 60 to 80% AMI. So we are front loading all of the affordable units for the entire project in that first phase. And we're not asking to reduce the overall density for the entire Madison Station Economic Impact Plan. It is simply just to reduce the first phase, with the expectation that we can make up that lost ground, if you will, in future phases.
Great, thank you for clarifying. That helps.
Yeah.
All right, anything else here?
No questions.
All right, thank you. And to clarify, this is phase one of the project. So you'll need to come back
Three
to us
phases.
again.
Yeah, the
The total
three
of 3 phases, come back to us again. All right.
Mr. Chair, one other clarification too. We also will have to come back on phase one when it's time to
For
do
the-
the reimbursement.
For the bonds, that's correct.
Whatever kind of TIF structure we use, that's correct.
That's correct.
That's still not finished yet. That's after we get the deal in place, we'll come back to you on that. So you'll see us multiple times.
And that's good, so we can get updates on the project too. But again, and that will just be just like any other developer that comes to us for bond issuance. They'll have to go through the process of completing the application, paying the bond fees, and then our issuers council will make sure everything's in order, and then that would be put on the agenda to potentially vote on as well at a separate date. All right, specifically as it pertains to the amendment today, our Metro Legal Counselor Joshua Thomas wasn't able to attend today's meeting due to a conference. So we actually had a meeting, and I asked him to put together a memo for us which candidly is really amazing, outlines it very simple, the changes to what we're voting on. In addition, Joshua also asked Tom Cross, Deputy Director with Metro Legal, to attend in his place in case there are any questions. So I'll kind of just go through each point, and then if we have legal questions about this, we can ask Tom on that if we have any questions. So we already talked about removing the parking garage from phase one, surface parking. We've talked about the affordable housing piece, all well and again. We need affordable housing units now, so huge advantage that's now happening sooner in the process. Item number 3 extends the completion date. Obviously, due to the changes, that makes sense. When it happens with construction, things are pushed back. And Jim Murphy, Developers Council, kind of spoke on this, but this is essentially to ensure that there's no double dipping in simple form. So there's a reduction, 1-for-1 reduction for any other incentives that the developer receives. Again, they have to require that the property owner is in the development to notify the board and provide supporting documentation if such property owner appeals their property assessments. Again, this is outlining that, and with this agreement, should the board approve. And then obviously at the end, there's been some changes to the DBE language that was in the initial agreement. So that's where we are. With that, I'll start here to my left. Any questions specifically about the project agreement and what the board is voting on here?
No, I think I'm pretty good understanding, and I like the fact it's being front loaded with the affordable units. And I do understand the market, the tick up in interest rates. It has stalled a lot of projects, so no problem with the time being moved up. But other than that, yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, and I would just say Metro Legal, Joshua Thomas did say if the board is inclined, that the agreement is legally sufficient for the board to approve. Again, this board can do it, vote how it wants, but from a legal perspective, it's in order. Any question or comments here to my right regarding the document? Or any questions for our legal, for Mr. Tom Cross?
Yeah, no, I just need a clarification on section 2F and knowing what was lost in the original agreement with diversified business enterprise and workforce development from the state. I understand that nobody in this room has anything to do with this, it was from the state, but what was lost?
It doesn't just apply to this agreement, obviously. It's any probably more broad than this, but any agreement that a local legislative body or a body, administrative body like this might consider, it voids any agreement for DBE requirement retroactively and prohibits them going forward. So what was in there is void under this new state law, and this just takes it out of there so there's no confusion.
And you're asking what it was. I could, it's in our packet, I don't remember, but there was a goal to do, I think it was 20%
There's
DB.
the ordinance provides for that we would comply with the Metro DBE program. And
I think that was 20,
it has
was it
goals.
20%?
I can't remember the exact number. I think 20 sounds right, Mr. Chair.
I think it was a council member that added that.
Yeah. And so that was taken out because of the change in the law. And we didn't want there to be any question about the validity of the agreement because it now had a provision in it that was prohibited.
I think, Chair, it speaks to the character of the owner, as that regardless of what's required, it exhibited the intent that satisfies me.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Board Member Rodriguez?
Yeah, no, I
Any
wanted
other-
to know what
Sure.
we basically
Oh,
lost,
really,
the
what-
20%
yeah.
and whatnot. Does that affect as well as like small businesses too as well? Would that count as
Small
diversified?
businesses, no.
No, okay.
Good question. Any other comments or questions?
That'll be it, Chair.
All right, thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. Any other questions or comments? All right, with that, I will entertain a motion from the board for approval of the First Amendment to the Madison Station project agreement. All right, Board Member Rodriguez, thank you. Second by Board Member Van Reese. So we have a proper second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, motion carried. Please let the record show that the chair abstained. Thank you all for your time.
Didn't Josh also abstain?
Yeah.
And we have also, Board Member Vice Chair Haston, one recusal and abstention as well. Thank you. All right. Moving right along today. Moving on to item number 6, Chairman's Report. I do want to share this today because this actually came up early this morning, time-sensitive matter. And I'm going to kind of read some of this so I can clearly articulate this. So we have, if you recall, and just some history for our new board members, we've talked a lot about housing. So one of the last year, 2 years, we've done quite a few bond issuances specifically for housing. One of those is one of our partners has been Dominion, which we've talked about. We've done, come to us for 4 projects now. 2 of them are completed. One on Cleveland Park, one on Brawley Parkway near Walmart. And then there are 2 more projects that they came to us for in December of last year. And this board approved an inducement resolution for those projects. Now, that does not mean that this board is approving the final bond issuance. That's essentially step 1. Okay. Their plan was to come to us next month for final bond issuance. So again, what we're doing today does not require anyone to do a final bond issuance. They still have to come before the board, and this board has to approve the final bond issuance, and then they would then proceed to potentially close on the bonds. So I had a call this morning with our legal counsel, Metro Legal, and also the Carpenter firm. And the Carpenters are issuers counsel, so they're specifically work on all of our bond work. All right, so I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I get this right. As established of record and as induced by the IDB, the ability of Dominion to close each project is subject to receipt of the LIHTC from THDA. Dominion applied for but did not receive an allocation for LIHTC in round 1. THDA authorized a round 2, which is currently in progress, for which Dominion has applied. On yesterday, so again, speaks to time sensitivity. On yesterday, Dominion was informed by THDA of 2 deficiencies in its round 2 application. A, the IDB inducement resolution needed to be extended since it has been more than 6 months since approval. Again, a reminder, this board made those inducement resolutions, approved those in December of last year. We're now in August. So I want to clarify, there's no problem with us on what is going on. These are issues, some deficiencies that they received notice about from THDA. B, the TEFRA public hearing should be rescheduled since it's been more than 6 months. Dominion has been in constant contact with the IDB and its issuers council and is fully committed to each project, and the continued facilitation of each project is within the mission of the IDB. Our legal counsel has advised that due to extingent and extreme circumstances, this matter be facilitated at today's meeting. So, all that to really say, there's 2 different projects that Dominion, that this board approved an inducement for back in December, total of about 500 units. In order for their application to move forward with THDA, they need an extension on the inducement, and they need this by next week. So in this email and also in conversation with our issuers council and also Metro Legal as well, their recommendation was that we formally approve a motion to extend their inducement resolution to allow for the project to continue and the application to move forward with THDA. Again, it's about 500 units in total. Should this board not approve that, then good chance the project's not coming back to us, and it puts the project in, there's risk in the project, put it that way. So that's where we are. And again, should this board approve an inducement, an extension, that's all we're doing today. There's nothing material that has changed with their applications for both projects. We're just extending the time. Should this board do that, again, this board is still not agreeing to approve the final bond resolutions. Dominion will have to come back before us still, tentatively, likely next month, and this board will then have to decide on approval of the final bond resolution. So what you do today is not saying that we approve the final bond resolution, just to clarify. So back to this. Let me say, my spouse's architecture firm has done work for Dominion in the past, so I have an indirect conflict. I don't know anything beyond what I've told you about the projects, but just want to share that. So, with that, I will entertain a motion to extend the inducement resolution for
I have an
two
indirect
projects.
conflict with Dominion.
Okay.
On particular projects. We actually didn't materialize an agreement for development, but we were involved with negotiation with them, so
Sure.
I probably need to.
So if you have an indirect, it's your choice, but if you have an indirect conflict, you can vote.
Oh, I still can vote?
You can still vote if you have an indirect conflict. So if you have an indirect conflict, you're just supposed to share.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Typically, and just for clarification, since we're on it, most of the time I don't vote just because I'm the chair, but it's my right to vote. And
Okay.
even if I say I have an indirect conflict, if I choose to, I can vote. So
Okay.
your decision, but just to clarify, if you have an indirect conflict, you can still vote. You just need to share that.
Okay.
All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to extend the inducement resolution for both Dominion projects for 6 months.
Sorry, real quick, I just also have to disclose an indirect.
Sure. See, I knew when I said this, he was going to open up. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Seriously. Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, just an indirect conflict, but to speak to a little bit more context in how the LIHTC process works in general.
Should this be part of the discussion or?
Yeah, should be.
Give your indirect, and then we'll do the motion and then have the discussion.
Gotcha.
So finish your indirect conflict.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else
No,
to say?
that's it.
Okay. All right, so there's a motion on the table to consider an inducement resolution for both Dominion projects that were induced back in December, to extend those inducement resolution for 6 months. So there's a motion on the table. I'll entertain a motion. There's not a motion on the table. I'll entertain a motion
You'll get there.
to do a 6-month extension on the inducement resolutions for both Dominion projects that were originally induced in December 2024.
I move.
All right, thank you, Board Member Yankee. So we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
One second.
All right, thank you, Board Member Channel. So we have a proper second. Any discussion?
Oh, yes, so just THDA in their LIHTC process, specifically for their 4% LIHTC process, there is an initial application submitted by the applicant, and THDA reviews said application and provides comments, and that developer or applicant has what's called a cure period, where there is a statutory time frame that the developer has to respond by. So just speaking to the urgency of the matter, if they received those comments yesterday, that first round of comments is required to be responded by in 5 business days. So if this is not voted on, which it was, so if it's not voted on, it would have.
We technically haven't voted yet. Just we have a motion
Correct.
in discussion,
Yeah,
but
so
yes.
If it's not passed, it would make them ineligible.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Josh.
Yep. Hence the meeting I had this morning.
Yeah.
I have a question just as
Yes.
a matter of, are there any other applicants that we need to be mindful of treating equally in that regard? Because if we extend now, we kind of set a precedent as to the ability to extend, and I'm just kind of wanting to make sure that we understand
Sure.
any precedent that we set.
So great point. I mean, here's my perspective from serving on this board and the history. I mean, legal has said this is fine for us to do, has given us the authority. I shouldn't say that. They've given their legal opinion for us to move forward with this. Obviously, we would never do anything that legal did not state that we were in line with. You know, what the precedent I think we're setting is that we support housing. I think that's the precedent that we're setting. And if that's the precedent we're setting, again, it's up to the board, but personally, I'm all for that. And so I think if there was another developer in the same situation, again, this is not an issue with them or us, it's their application. I would hope that the board would do the same thing and be in support, especially since this board has been very supportive of housing projects. We've talked about the need. Well, I mean, candidly, I'm the kind of person, put your money where your mouth is. And again, this is about 500 units. So great question. That's my response to that.
But I think it's a fantastic question. We need to be careful and make sure that we are fair in treating all applicants that come before us.
Absolutely.
So that was, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean not mean to interrupt. I just know that THDA applications can move around like a whack-a-mole sometimes, and so this could absolutely come up more than once because of their deadlines moving, our deadlines also moving. So I just wanted to be mindful of that this might not be the only time this happens.
Sure. I don't recall. I could tell you this. I'm not going to say it won't happen. I've been on the board for 10 years. I haven't had this happen in the past. Now, part of that, though, candidly, the last 2 years, we've done more bond work the last year and a half than we've ever done in my tenure serving on this board. So it could, and that's where I come back to. If we're setting a precedent of supporting housing, then that's the precedent I want to support. Or question.
Yeah, one question for legal, and, you know, speaking as an attorney myself, if legal's advising us, I want to hear from legal. Right. My question, going back, it also falls into the fairness realm. How do we procedurally get past our 7-day notice of?
I think if you're just extending the letter, that's fine. If you're making substantive changes, that might require more process.
Okay, that's what my concern was, because I know we had other issues that came up, and we were urgently trying to make a decision, but we had a 7-day notice issue, so that was my biggest concern there. Okay.
And the biggest thing here is just to reiterate, there is no material change to the application, so it's just extending the 6 months.
And that's helpful to state if we ever do come across this again.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Yep.
Any other questions or comments? All right, great discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed say nay. All right, motion carried. Let the record show 1 abstention from the chair. Thank you. Did you?
And Josh abstained too.
Yeah, indirect.
You can vote if you want,
That's fine.
but it's up to you for the just so we have it for the record. Are you yes?
That's fine.
Or?
Go ahead. I'll vote yeah.
Okay, so all yeses and 1 abstention from the chair. Thank you, board. Thank you, vice chair. All right, so I'll be quick today. This is good timing today.
I thought that was your report. That's not true.
Hey,
I already got my stuff in the folder.
Me too, I thought that was my bad. Okay, let me get my pen back out.
I'm getting you. I'm trying to work with you all. All right. No, that's. I did have some other things, but this came up last minute, so I'll hold off on the other items. But I would anticipate that we'll have another meeting. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, October 8th. And I do anticipate potentially a lengthier meeting than today. So just plan on potentially a little longer meeting. Hence, today is a little bit shorter. So giving you some time back today. Take it back, put it, rest it, save it for the next meeting. Anyway, I do want to thank all the board members again for your attendance. Thank you for your support. I want to thank Metro Economic and Development Team. I want to thank Metro Legal as well, both Tom Cross, Deputy Director, and Joshua Thomas for putting this memo together. I want to thank all of our guests. Thank Metro IT as well. So it is here right at 10:51 a.m.
Hey, Chair, I did have one more question.
Okay.
We do have a vacancy on the, what is it?
A secretary, so we'll fill that at a future
next one.
meeting.
Gotcha.
No, it's not on the agenda today, so we'll fill that at a future meeting. Great question. Just note that you're the assistant secretary.
Yeah.
So between now and then, if anything comes up, it's you signing your life away. For now, at least. Okay. So thanks for pointing that out. All right, it is here at, thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. It is here at, right at 10:51 a.m. There being no further business, we will adjourn this meeting of the Industrial Development Board. Everybody have a fantastic rest of the day. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.